Welcome back, order flow traders. In today's video, we're going to be covering the holy trinity of indicators you need in order to properly trade using order flow tools. Now, they're all going to revolve around one key thing in the market, and that is, as an intraday trader, most important is volume. Volume, volume, volume. Volume is going to be the key element to all these three indicators, and they all overlap and intersect and give you the amount of information you need to properly execute a trade. Now, we're going to be starting with the first one, and that's we're going to start from a top-down analysis. So one's going to give you an overall macro area where to start to initiate a trade, how to manage the trade properly, and then finally how to utilize the last indicator to give you those proper executions on your trade. So stay tuned. Now look no further. The first one is right in front of us. It is the one and only volume profile. Now I do have an extensive video on volume profiles, different shapes, different ways to interpret them, the contextual information you receive from them. This is not a video to go that granular into it, but nonetheless, I'll leave the video in the description in the event that you want to learn more about volume profile analysis. More or less, the most important factors when it comes to volume profile is to track inventory in terms of where volume has transacted and what that means for a trade idea. So just very briefly, here you're going to see a histogram on the left side that shows you thicker parts, just really quickly, are where most of my volume transacted within the current distribution, and each one is one session. So this is going to be an overnight session or a morning session, overnight session, morning session. So as you know, futures trades 24 hours, 5 days a week. So each one is identified as one session. The key component is identifying where the value areas are, which are mine, are located in the mint blue, and the points of control are, in other words, where the most amount of transactions occurred, and where we are in relevance to those nodes, our value areas, and how price is behaving in respects to the trend. This is going to give you a huge blueprint or a map, if you will, of areas of interest to transact in to create or formulate a thesis based on on the previous auction process. I do this every day live pre-market, so if you guys want to tune in live and watch me use these tools, feel free to subscribe. I will be live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before the open. But nonetheless, to keep things short and sweet, this is going to be the primary indicator to give you the key areas to focus on to find opportunities in the market and areas to target as well. They also give you a blueprint as to where you should be taking profit. Now, how to manage the trade is going to leap into the next indicator, which we're going to cover in a sec. All right, and the next one is going to be the one and only footprint chart. But before that, all right, this footprint chart is very key because this one is essentially it's a candlestick chart. It's essentially what you would normally see in a chart similar to something like this. And in here, these are all 5-minute candlesticks. The difference is you don't get to see what's inside each one of these prints as these are coming out and moving. You're not seeing all the orders being transacted per print. And the footprint chart is able to peel back the veil and give you where exactly the most amount of transactions are getting filled on the bid or the ask. Who is the imbalanced participant? In other words, who is the aggressor? Here you can see that the sell side was imbalanced as we're hitting the lows. On the very end here on the left side of each footprint, that yellow number represents an imbalance that was filled, meaning there was more selling than buying taking place as we're heading lower. Now, this will give you key opportunities to identify potential reversals or signs of exhaustion. So if you're in a trade, you identified an entry on your volume profile from the very top, an execution idea, and you want to gauge how you should be scaling your position out, and you're starting to see imbalances form on the sell side or the buy side or exhaustion taking place. I cover these in other videos, so I'll link those in the description as well. So properly identify what that is and it looks like. You start to scale out of your position a little more cleanly before a full-on reversal comes and takes place. Because in here you can see that there's selling taking place, but they weren't rewarding any selling. All these imbalanced selling taking place was net sell over and over, but as we hit lower and lower, the sell side started to get absorbed. As you can see here, this is a net delta of all the price action taking place here. In other words, as we go positive, means there's more buying taking place than selling. So it gives you an indication that that rotation to the downside is coming near an end. They're getting absorbed. The selling is absorption, getting absorbed. So you should be unwinding your position, if not fully closing it out, when you start to see signs of this trickling down as prices are moving lower and lower, giving you a better idea to not give away profit and also when to actually scale out. You can hold a runner for a period of time. You can see here that there is nothing but net selling all the way through and through all morning long as we sold off, giving you no clear indication from the very 40s that there was any attempt to buy this outside of a few prints before that, which just led to reversals to the upside only to get absorbed. As you can see here, absorption took place, big block took place there, took all the orders off the book there and continued lower. It wasn't until we actually started to die down, price started to get absorbed on the sell side, imbalances took place, no further downside, that we started to reverse and squeeze any of those late sellers. Now, how do you identify late sellers? How do you find trapped participants? How do you identify that the rotations are coming to an end and that these prints are actually what they seem? Next indicator is going to give you exactly that, and I'm going to explain how you can derive that information from very key context. And lo and behold, the final one, which is going to be the most important, in my opinion, for any intraday trader to identify opportunity properly, and that is the depth of market. Each one of these DOMs is essentially a DOM for each individual ticker. The first one on the left here will be for the S&P futures, and this one here will be for the NQ or NASDAQ futures. Now, the market is closed today, so you will not see any movement, but normally you would have a lot of orders getting executed on the center columns here. You got the resting offers, resting bids on the left and right, and then the volume profile histogram shown here of all the transactions that took place, distributed within a different set price range. Now, I do this live. I do have a video on the most important 3 things that you can identify from the DOMs, and that's going to be price, pace, and participation. Using the DOM, you will see reactions to certain levels. You're going to see the pace of the DOM pick up or slow down or adjust, or certain selling get absorbed. In other words, you're going to see trades. We're going to be trading down into, say, the 96s on the ES and price not move. We're going to have an avalanche of price come lower and then absorption take place here with no single movement in any direction until we come back in and then initially inch up. We can either reject from there or squeeze the heck out of all those late sellers, and that will give you one of the most cleanest executions. The most crucial component when it comes to trading, from my experience, has been execution. The best entries are going to come in when no one is able to see what you're buying or why you're buying, and there's nothing that can give you a clearer view as to when to get a great execution than the DOM itself. Now, if you want more information, again, I live stream every day. Tune in, ask any questions. I utilize these very concepts to take my trades day in and day out. I have videos. I'm going to link them in the description below, covering all the concepts on this. Is just an and definitely an overview of just what it is to use an order flow, since there are so many different variations of trading styles. In my opinion, the only things you really need are volume profile, footprint charts, and the depth of market, no matter what asset you trade. So thank you for watching the video. Like it and subscribe if you guys want more.